it's funny how fan bases are so tied to the teams that they love. And every year they convince themselves like, this is going to be the year. In my head, I'm like, nope.
Look at the
Probably,
Cowboys fans.
No.
Look at the Cowboys fans. Every year, this is our year.
Dude, ESPN is feeding like Dak Prescott pushing Mahomes for MVP. And
Dude,
it's like,
first of all, what did I tell you? That spiral fracture, that dislocated broken ankle that he had, I played with probably 5 dudes that had that exact injury. So what happens is their foot gets stuck, they get hit in the leg, and it basically dislocates, they pin it. 0 out of those 5 ever came back to do anything of substantial. So like when I saw that, I was like, I would invest. And then they go pay him a bunch of money. And I'm like, dude, it's like the running back who held out. They paid that. I'm like, you don't pay running backs. You like every year there's some kid that comes out of college who's no name who like is like the top running back and rushes for the most yards in the NFL. And I'm like, why would you pay running backs? Like the last running back to probably get paid was Emmitt Smith. Like that was the last dude. Like if not, you just run those guys through. So I'm just so amazed at like, as having played and then, obviously watching it now, I'm like, I just am so amazed by some of these decisions these guys make. And maybe there's something we're not seeing in terms of branding or market or, they send out focus groups and they love this person. So it makes sense to pay them for their fan base because it's not about winning. So,
no. At the end of the day, it's all about money. And that's why some of these teams, like you said, they won't shell out, a few hundred thousands to potentially make back millions to billions. And as you know, in any industry, like if you want to be successful, you got to spend some money to make a whole lot of money, and it's worth it with anything that you end up doing. With me, when I work with athletes, I'm like, you want to get better, we'll work together, but I'm not free. You got to pay me, but you're going to end up better off in the end. And you're going to say, shit, I wish I would have done that 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, because now, I'm armed with the appropriate knowledge and habits for life. It's like, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, it's man, we said like I always felt bad for guys that had to go play at Cincinnati, or like my buddies. Like, so Bobby Williams went to play in Cincinnati, and he used to call me and be like, "Dude, it's fucking awful." Like, there was a rip in my sock, so I went to go get new socks, and they charge you. All of a sudden, you get your check, and they're like charging you $16 for socks, and he's like, like just nickel and dime stuff, and like that doesn't build winning teams and cultures, and like it's just players' perception. So if obviously you had a pretty cool deal with the Giants and got to see the inner workings of the NFL. Now that you're standing on the outside, is it easier to work with these guys and to kind of be able to shoot them straight without having to wear the crest on your chest and, be employed by the team in such a way? And now you can almost be impartial and be like, hey, I'm working with you. This is my perception, and I don't have to, temper it with what the team wants.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I thought one thing I wanted to do when I was working with them in that situation with the team was just never really BS them or sugarcoat things. Obviously, there are things that you can and can't do. And it's NFL policy, it's NFL policy, it's organizational policy, and you do as much as you can, not in the gray area, but just try to manage the biggest rocks first. But now I think the benefit of it is I know exactly what they're going through. So you have a lot of people that work with NFL athletes in the off season, but how many of them actually been through seasons, losing seasons, and know what the shittiest of the shit feels like and all the mental associations with it, how everybody acts, all the chit chatter coming from the players, from the coaches, from the administration, from, upper management and the owners. I mean, unfortunately, we had the 3 to 4 worst years in history of the organization. So I experienced all of that and I know what it's like.
Yeah. Like walking around, like I remember this is so weird, but like you would lose a game and like all of these coaches, and I used to joke that I never want to be in a foxhole with any of these motherfuckers. Like they would lose a game and all of a sudden you'd walking down the hall and they'd be like looking down and didn't want to talk to you. Like all of a sudden, like like just, it was amazing, the staff, and like how a win and a loss can change the entire like aura of a building. All of a sudden you win and everybody's high-fiving and excited. And I'm like, we're like, nobody's going to go undefeated. Like, I mean, they're one team in history. The 72 Dolphins went undefeated, yeah. Right? I mean, so one team in history, everybody's going to lose a game. And you guys act like, dude, you went through actually like multiple games in a row being lost. Like you lose 2 or 3 games and all of a sudden you're like, the parking lot's locked and you got to park outside and walk in. I mean, like just crazy shit where we're like, holy shit, we lost the game. We can't park in our own parking lot, which happened to us in the Chiefs facility. They just locked the fucking doors.
Well, you should have won, John.
Yeah,
What the fuck?
they're like, oh, if you would have won, we'll let you park closer and you won't have to walk a quarter mile to the facility through a fucking multiple gates. Like Keystone Cops bullshit. You're like, what am I in Super Troopers? And that's the hilarious part of the NFL, that like these guys, like, you know, not necessarily the players, but the staffs, like live and die. I can't imagine like just the you know, people talking out the side of your mouth, the depression, and just being around that with that many losses. Holy shit.
And it's tough because when you think about it, I mean, winning is, as you mentioned, everybody is happy. I mean, because there is a strong association with increased dopamine, increased testosterone. And when you're on a winning streak, like you play better because physiologically and mentally, like that's what's connected and that's what's happening. So when you lose, you get the opposite. And this has been studied. Like, can you imagine what it does to somebody's manhood, players and coaches, when you're just losing, and you can't right the ship? And it just continues to happen. You know, you don't have the same work outputs or power outputs. You have detrimental to physical performance. Mental performance isn't there. And you've got to figure out something to kind of right the ship. So everybody's like, oh, we got to practice harder. We got to drive them into the ground. So now you throw another stress on top of that with the inability to recover. It's like, shit, you know, who has the right answer to right this ship? Because again, if you're not winning your division, you don't have a wild card shot, then you could still win 7, 8, 9 games and not make it to the playoffs.